Good afternoon, friends. Another day working on the old 1979 Shovelhead. Now, if you guys remember, I'm building this engine for a chopper that I've got here. It's a project that I started quite a while ago, and I haven't had all of the parts, and I've been slowly collecting them. But now that I've got more of the engine parts, I'm starting to stick this thing together. In the last video, you saw me put the S&S oil pump on. Now that I have the oil pump set, it's time to work on this cam chest. Today I want to install the cam bearing, breather, and the oil pump drive assembly, and then get that cam cover put in place. So I'm going to walk you through that process. As you can see, we have an empty cam chest here. So today I'm going to work on installing the cam bearing, the cam, oil pump drive gear, cam drive gear, breather gear, all the good stuff to get this thing buttoned up and get the cone assembly in place and on. First, we are going to work on putting in this cam bearing, and I do have a cam bearing installer, and I'm going to show you how to use that. Today I'll be trying out this cam bearing installer. This is something I picked up online. I'm going to see how well it works. I've never actually used one of these, so we're going to give this a shot. The nice thing is the bearing itself will slip onto the installer and slowly press into the race here. So first things first, I want to go ahead and I want to lubricate this opening here. I want to lubricate the bearing itself, so that way everything is just ready to sit for a little while, because I don't have all of the parts to complete this engine. Just using a little bit of assembly lube here. Next, we'll put the bearing onto the installer. We'll back that all the way down. Now this comes with a couple of different screws here, and those should thread into the factory mount holes for the timing cover. Now with the screws in place, we can go ahead and start installing our bearing, and you'll want to take your time here, slowly threading this thing in. You probably can't see it real well. Maybe you can. You want to be careful to keep the bearing onto the installer itself. If you look inside the lifter block hole here, you can see the installer's in place. You can see the bearings ready to be seated into its race here, or into the opening there. So we're going to go ahead and slowly thread that in. I'll get a wrench here and get on this and move that bearing into position. I will slowly work the bearing into the position it needs to be in, taking our time to watch it to make sure it's going in straight. Now the installation tool will bottom out and it will stop. I mean, obviously you can continue to crank on this and it will ruin the installation plate itself, but you can feel it you can feel the resistance start, and then you can feel when it actually stops if you go slow enough. So now that we've got the bearing installed all the way, we'll go ahead and we'll back this off. Of course, like always, it's nice to have the right tools, because having the right tools helps you to install things properly. And as you can see, the bearing is in the case as it's supposed to be now. Today we'll be working out of the Harley-Davidson service manual. This is for FL, FX models, 1200, 1340cc from 78.5 to 84. Obviously this is a 79 engine. This is a real deal Harley-Davidson repair manual or service manual. The part number is going to be 99482-84. If you do not have one of these, you can find them on eBay or find them all over the place. They are a great resource to have. It's full of good and useful information on everything you'll need to service your old Harley Shovelhead. First order of business is installing the oil pump drive gear, and this will need a woodruff key. So we'll have to go ahead and get that installed first, and then we can slide our drive gear into place. With our woodruff key installed, now we can slide on our oil pump drive gear. So I don't have a good way to press these gears on, so one of the things I like to do is grab a couple of wheel spacers. I also have a swing arm spacer here, and then I have my nut here. So what I like to do is like to slowly thread this in place. Now remember, this is left-hand thread, so you're actually going counterclockwise to thread this into position. So I'm going to go ahead and slowly turn this on until the gear stops. We may run out of threads before that, so I may have to change out spacers here. We have run out of threads, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and back this off the rest of the way, and I'll pull out those spacers, and I'll put in a different spacer, a little longer one. Now with our oil pump drive gear in place, there's a pinion gear spacer that goes on, so we'll fit that into its home. And then there's another woodruff key that goes into the slot here. And lastly, there is our pinion gear, and this actually slides on in this direction. With all of our gears in place, we'll put our gear nut in place. And again, like I said, this is a left-hand thread. So we'll start this by hand. Quick shout out to Fast Eddie Co. If you are looking for good quality tools, check these guys out. This stuff is all made in America. He's out of Wisconsin, I believe. Makes a super good quality tool for most Harley Davidson applications. I believe he makes other parts or other tools for other bikes as well, but I'm not sure. I pretty much only buy the Harley stuff because he is top quality and I like his stuff. Next up, we need to torque this from 35 to 45 pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next. Next, we're going to set our breather gear end play. So I have my breather gear here, and I'm going to go ahead and apply a little bit of assembly lube to that, slide it into its position here, and I'll show you how to set the end play. It's fairly simple, just takes a little bit of time. With the breather gear installed, we need to go ahead and put our gasket in place. With our gasket in place, we need a straight edge. We're going to run the straight edge right across the face of the gasket here, and right across the breather gear. And we need between 1/1000th and 16/1000ths gap. So I have the 16/1000ths out just to see if it's going to fit through. It does not. What you'll have to do is you'll have to calculate for squish. So the gasket is going to squish once you put on the cone itself. That's at 6/1000ths of squish. So you have to subtract your 6/1000ths from here. I want to go ahead and get an accurate reading. See where we're at as far as end play. So if I measure this out, I have 8/1000ths of end play right now. If I calculate for squish, that gives me 14/1000ths. So it's right in the range between 1/1000th and 16/1000ths of an inch. So the end play on the breather gear is all set. Next, we're going to set our cam gear end spacing as well. I am going to be running an Andrews AB cam. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and put our thrust washer in place first. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll put a little bit of assembly lube onto this just to hold everything in place. We'll go ahead and slide that in place, put our cam in, and then next we'll go ahead and slide on our cover. Before we slide on the cover, we're actually going to add a little bit of assembly lube to the ends here just to make everything play nicely. With our cam cover in place, we're actually going to go ahead and tighten down all of the screws here. We're going to tighten this up, snug it up a little bit just to make sure everything is all set, and then we'll take our measurement. All right, looking in the lifter block hole again, what we're going to do is we're going to slide our cam all the way forward, and we're looking for the same spacing between 1/1000th and 16/1000ths. So I still have my 8/1000ths out. We'll see if that fits. That does not. So it's smaller than 8/1000ths. Let's see where we're at here. We're right at 6/1000ths. So it's a little looser on the cam than it is on the breather gear, but that's within acceptable tolerance. So now that we have our end play set on both our breather gear and our cam gear, we need to pull the cam cover back off and then time the bottom end. So I'm going to go ahead and time that now. With our back spacing set, now it's time to time the engine. And we're fairly close on the gear here. If you look at the diagram, you can see that the pinion gear faces almost up along with your cam, and then your cam faces your breather gear here. Those are the three marks that you're looking for. So what we actually do is I'm going to pull the cam out, and I'm going to align the pinion gear here, and then I'll put the cam back in and align the breather gear at the same time. So you want to be careful not to pull everything out and lose everything from inside of the cam chest. So we'll rotate the engine around just a little bit. And we're going to look for the 2 points on our cam. So there's a point here and a point here. This is for your pinion gear. This is for your breather gear. So the breather gear timing mark is right here. So we'll go ahead and we'll try to slide this back in. We'll align it with the bottom first. The breather gear's off one tooth. We're close. All right, if we look at our alignments here, I think you can see this in the camera. I have my gear aligned with the dot and the line here, and the dot and the line there. So the engine is now timed. We'll go ahead and put the gasket back on, and then we'll put our nose cone back in place. Well, friends, as you can see, setting up a gear case is not that hard. Now it does require some specialty tools that you may have to purchase, but all in all, it's fairly easy to do. And of course, if you follow the manual, it shows you exactly how to get this done. Now I've got a lot left to do on this engine, including setting up the timer here, go ahead and installing cylinders and pistons and heads and all of the works there. And I do have some parts on order, so I am waiting on things again. That's always kind of the name of the game, is waiting on this stuff, unless you have it in stock. And unfortunately, I do not. So I've got a few things that I do have on order, and I'll be working on those shortly. Well, if you like this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. If you have questions or comments about this build, please drop them in that comment section below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, which I'm seeing in my analytics, about 90% of the people watching my videos are not even subscribed. So I'm not sure what you're waiting on. But if you don't want to miss out anything on this build, you're going to want to subscribe. So hit that subscribe button. Well, friends, that's it for this one. We'll catch you next time.